Well, lack of star names hurt Washington's chances for the Super Bowl. You could have a Super Bowl where history is made either way. The first rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl in NFL history, or the first three-peat in NFL history. You would have your David versus Goliath when you have the team with the rookie quarterback against the dynastic Kansas City Chiefs. The storylines are great either way, whether it be Washington, whether it be the Eagles and the Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator, used to be Mahomes' college coach at Texas A&M. It was Eric Bieniemy who joined the Washington team after leaving the Chiefs, and Kingsbury replaced him. It was Alex Smith that went to Washington so the Chiefs could move on with Patrick Mahomes. So the storylines are great either way. Your Eagles' revenge against against the Chiefs, or it could be another Super Bowl win for Andy Reid against his former team. And the thing about the Eagles is that they're the only team to win and lose against Brady in a Super Bowl. So they lost against Brady, and then they beat Tom Brady. So they already lost against Mahomes. So that is the interesting thing about the Eagles. But what it could really boil down to is the lack of star players hurting Washington. When you're watching the Super Bowl, you've got your Jalen Hurts, you've got your Jaden Daniels, but the star names just don't compare. You're watching AJ Brown of the Eagles, but no disrespect to Terry McLaurin, but he's only Terry McLaurin. Like AJ Brown is a name that just screams big name. Like Eckler's a good running back, but he ain't no Saquon Barkley, right? Saquon Barkley is the guy that's got more of the storyline potential as a superstar running back. So if we're looking from a perspective of star players, then Washington doesn't have the marketable names with the exception of the quarterback. This could be a moment where good riddance. You have the little sob story from Dan Snyder today. I hate seeing Washington successful without me. Wouldn't it be the cherry on top if they make it to the Super Bowl, first year or so without Daniel Snyder? I'm just saying the storylines are great either way. But will the lack of star names hurt Washington? There's all this talk about Jalen Hurts' injury. Looking at that too much, or is it something that's going to foreshadow what's to come? Super Bowl rematches are pretty common. Tom Brady had two Super Bowl rematches, Patriots Giants and Patriots Eagles. Are we seeing a number two here? Because you had your 49ers Chiefs, and you could potentially have Eagles and Chiefs. And Tom Brady had two Super Bowl rematches, so is a second in store for Patrick Mahomes. But I think with the 666 loss for the Eagles, no matter what happens, the Chiefs are still going to three-peat. And in Donald Trump's America, the black man is unfortunately going to be put into his place. Because when they rig the NFL, they know who was going to win the election before the season started. They knew it would be rigged for Trump. And so they're going to have the team with the MAGA connections win, or they're going to have the team that doesn't have a 100% black quarterback win the Super Bowl. I think Goki Laban represents the Jews and the Israelites because they're the chosen people, and they had really dark skin. I think Goki Laban represents this biblical revelation to come in the NBA. But as far as the NFL goes, it's going to be his wife is a MAGA, his mom is a MAGA, so The Chiefs represent the red hat. The Eagles represent Biden. Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. The Eagles are Biden's team. Are we going to see Joe Biden pictured at the Super Bowl as citizen, former President Biden, going to watch his favorite team play in the Super Bowl? Or simply the Commanders represent the commander in chief? You have your all-Indian Super Bowl. One team is woke. They're called the Commanders instead of the Redskins. Then you have your Red Hatters on Kansas City. Ain't no way a team with a woke name, is no way a team with a so-called woke name is going to win the Super Bowl. Because you have the unwoke president in power right now. And already you're seeing some companies, they have zero balls. They get rid of their DEI initiatives and their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, all because of who's president. You've seen it with Target already. You've seen it with other people are cutting back on the DEI programs. So this DEI woke is going against Washington. If they make it to the game, forget about it. Washington represents the wokeism that came with their name change. And quite frankly, they are still called the Redskins. So excuse my language, they are the Redskins. They represent Native American pride as far as I can tell. I don't know how this all became offensive to some minority group. That's for a whole other day. That's for a whole other discussion. But if the Washington Redskins win the NFC title, then hail to the Skins. That's all I have to go say. Hey, well, Commanders and the Bills and the Eagles, basically the Commanders and the Bills is the matchup that people want to see the most. That's a psychological operation. And so it's Redskins last Super Bowl. They beat the Bills. Therefore, Washington and Buffalo. So Washington win the NFC title game, then that's going to be very interesting because you have some fools thinking it's going to mean that, oh, what a coincidence that they face Buffalo again for their next Super Bowl appearance. But I still going with Washington. I still am because of the Jaden Daniels factor, because of your David versus Goliath. David versus Goliath and the lovable loser Lions goes out the door. But you have a team with the rookie quarterback and new owners making noise in the NFL. And this Jaden Daniels is no typical running quarterback. He makes plays in the pocket. He knows when to check it down. He knows when to throw it deep. This guy is not your atypical, stereotypical running quarterback like Jalen Hurts on the other end. Well, obviously, how does the Washington defense handle Saquon Barkley? Saquon is known for fumbles. Is he going to fumble it away, or is this guy going to play on his birthday? He's going to play on the Super Bowl in his birthday. Or Saquon knows a script and he says, I want no part with losing no goddamn Super Bowl on my birthday and having to be reminded that on a year-to-year basis. So if Saquon takes a dive, it's because he doesn't want to celebrate his birthday and be miserable to celebrate the yearly anniversary of losing the Super Bowl to Kansas City. So if anything happens to Saquon, it's because he knows what's about to go down in the Super Bowl, and he wanted no part with losing the Super Bowl on his birthday. But there is a good narrative for Saquon to win the Super Bowl if he is playing on his birthday. But I am of the belief that the Chiefs are the greatest team ever, and Patrick Mahomes is going to win 10 straight playoff games as the 10th pick of his draft. Of course, all the experts, they predicted the Bills. These guys, everyone is all over Buffalo. Las Vegas says, ha ha. I think it's so ridiculous how people think the Bills are so much better than the Chiefs. It's like Chiefs have a much better defense. The Bills gave up 40 points against the Lions. It's like Lions gave up 40 points in that game. They lost. They're like this Buffalo defense is just not that good at the end of the day. It's like then the Bills didn't win it. The Ravens lost it. So, whoops, Chiefs got lucky. By that logic, did the Bills get lucky last week? You can say by that logic they got lucky because they fumbled the ball, because they muffed the snap. Lamar muffed the snap, and then Andrews had the catch and he fumbled. So by this logic that the Chiefs get lucky, did the Bills get lucky? Josh Allen's going to sell. This time, I actually do believe he has a bad game. He wasn't at fault for the prior 3 games against the Chiefs. The 13-second game, the game where the defense and the kicker didn't do their job, the game where McDermott was conservative, the 2020-2021 AFC Championship game, the 2020 AFC Championship game. Okay, the first one they played the Titans. Now I remember. The second one they played the Bills. Yep, that was 2021. Yep, that was 2021. That was during COVID. Commanders Chiefs, all Native Indian themed Super Bowl. That's just too good. I don't know what to make about the lack of marketable star names. If it's gonna hurt Washington, it may hurt them. It may or not. But a magical run by Magic Johnson, no pun intended, if they go in and destroy the Philadelphia Eagles. But I can't just sit here and just completely dismiss Washington when you have Kingsbury was Patrick Mahomes' college coach, and you can't ignore the connections that Eric Bieniemy has with Kansas City and Washington, or the fact that Alex Smith played for both teams. And we can't just sit here and ignore all these connections that the Kansas City Chiefs have with Washington in really recent times. Because Bieniemy was the coordinator before Kingsbury joined, and Alex Smith was the quarterback before the Chiefs moved on with Mahomes, and then did Alex Smith a favor, traded him to Washington. Terry McLaurin, Ohio State, won the national title. Ohio State in the big game in the Super Bowl. If Dan Quinn had to take the biggest rigged humiliation in that 28-3. So the Patriots could have this scripted, beat the British Redcoats game against the Falcons wearing the red. Is Dan Quinn going to be given a Super Bowl in the future? Like, I think they're going to give Harbaugh Super Bowl, Jim Harbaugh, for all the rigged calls against the 49ers. But I think they will probably give Dan Quinn a Super Bowl in the future. I think one team has chosen to end the streak for the NFC. It's the Washington Redskins. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen the year after. It's not going to happen the year after in Super Bowl 62. Yeah, basically everyone thinks the Lions' run is over. Too many gamblers are just hate the Lions, and they're being all emotional, and their brain is not working quite right. They'll never pick the Lions or bet the Lions next year because psychologically they were let down. They were let down by the Lions, and psychologically this is going to impact who they predict for the NFC next year. So you have this very psychological meltdown of the dopamine in the disappointment and the letdown with the Lions, that psychologically these people are saying, I'm never going to go for that team ever again. Same fucking rigged as losers. But they're just characters at the end of the day, and the game is rigged. You don't have to freak out. There's 18 players on the injured reserve. They'll have players back. They'll make it to the Super Bowl next year because, again, they won't be severely injured. So Lions are still going to win the NFC next year. If the Lions go through the Packers, there's zero chance they'll have the Lions lose against Green Bay. But what if they have to go to Lambeau and win? Wouldn't that be a magical Cinderella type kind of storyline that we could envision for next year's NFL season? That the Lions defy everything and they get a win at Lambeau or something, or just defeat the Packers or something? Like, Lions are still going to have guys back next year. They're going to have Aiden Hutchinson on the football field creating turnovers instead of Lions turn it over. So my uncle thinks the Lions window is over. Many others here think the Lions window is over, but I'm telling you, you cannot write off this team until you see how they do when they're not so unlucky with injuries. The 49ers will be back in the playoffs because who's their defensive coordinator? Robert Saleh. And this team is not going to be as injured as they were last year. So the 49ers are going to be back in the playoffs. The Rams, Stafford will retire. The Lions will be in the playoffs next year. With 3 wild card spots and all the good quarterbacks are in the AFC, you kind of expect Washington to be in the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys? No way the Cowboys can make the playoffs. And then the Green Bay Packers, the Vikings are going to miss the playoffs next year. So the Vikings miss the playoffs. The Lambs miss the playoffs. Who else is going to miss the playoffs? Vikings miss it. Lambs miss it. Packers should be good enough to make it. They're not going to be this team of world beaters next year, but I think they get the Packers usually are consistent enough to make the playoffs. And I mean, Jaden Daniels is the future. He's the future of that division, him and Jaden. I mean, the way the Buccaneers have been playing in a terrible division, who's really seeing Baker Mayfield fall off a cliff? Unless if he gets injured. One thing you don't know yet is like injuries, for example. But yeah, on the AFC side, it's easy. Joe Burrow was pictured with the Chiefs helmet. He's going to end the Chiefs dynasty next year. Joe Burrow's going to knock these guys off. His playoff record at the moment is 5-2. You just know that he'll enter a game against Patrick Mahomes, or his first game of the playoffs, he will defeat Patrick Mahomes. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Because through the code of Camacho, his playoff record is 5-2, and he misses the playoffs this year to set up this very moment where Joe Burrow can improve to 6-2, entering the game against Patrick Mahomes, or actually does play Mahomes in the first playoff game and knocks him off. Because you gotta see that the Kansas City Chiefs is Camacho 52. And let's just say if he goes up against Josh Allen, he'll defeat Josh Allen next year. Cincinnati's going to beat the Bills. I think Josh Allen reverses 62. We'll see who the Bengals draft in the first round. Hendrickson, they got the pass rusher. What else do they need on the defense? A shutdown corner, or do they need a good linebacker? Bengals just lost too many games in one possession games. It's so easy to throw games when you have it down by the last possession. Like it was all rigged when they lost against the Patriots. The season was rigged. The Bengals had to miss the playoffs. But one surprise team that I like in the future is the Jaguars. Stadium renovations equals playoff game. This guy is still good. Trevor Lawrence. The problem was Jaguars played teams close, but they had a terrible record in one possession game. So the Jags is one team that I like to be a spoiler and maybe a down year for the Houston Texans. And of course, first place schedules, all of that factors into the equation. Cliff Kingsbury is exact Camacho's New Orleans. Just like 1991 when the Redskins played the Bills, Washington won. Oh, I'm going to place my bet on the Chiefs. Here we go. Wouldn't that be a perfect reverse psychology? They got you. I don't know. But both matchups are great matchups either way. The common denominator is that the Bills have zero chance. What's not quite determined is who they will play in the Super Bowl. And again, these are the things that I have thought about. Expanding the research. And then you start seeing things like Kingsbury was Mahomes' college coach. And all these connections to Washington that Alex Smith has and Eric Bieniemy. It feels like with new owners on Washington, the job ain't done yet. They got to win a trophy. And I believe that at the place where Magic won his first ring as a player when he defeated the 76ers in 1980, he clinched the finals at Philadelphia for his first ring, Magic Johnson. I feel that Philadelphia could be where Magic Johnson wins his first trophy as an owner, the George Halas Trophy, the NFC title. Hail to the Skins, and Kansas City's got him. And all the crybabies when the Chiefs win, the Chiefs Commanders, all the crybabies when oh, they're making it so easy for the Chiefs. They have them against a rookie quarterback. They're giving it to the Chiefs on a silver platter. They're making it so easy against a rookie quarterback. Imagine the crying when it does happen, because the whole narrative all week is Chiefs, Eagles. That's the narrative. These guys are greedy. This guy says, we don't care about all the Super Bowl tickets on the Lions. We want to go fuck up all of their NFC title winner tickets as well. What if they want to sit here and say, we're going to destroy your Eagles, Bills, and your Eagles, Chiefs tickets? You never know. This could be a very profitable week for the sports books. We already know that the Bills are the unanimous pick of the public. So we know these guys are slaughtered. They're slaughtering the buffalo, and the buffalo are close to being extinct. Just like as they were in history before animal conservationist groups helped save the American buffalo. So you're seeing something similar. They're getting extinct, and their Super Bowl window's about to close, and Big Daddy Patty owns these guys again. But I will be asking the poll after the Bills lose, who is Patrick Mahomes' biggest bitch? The 49ers, who passed on him in the draft and they lost 2 Super Bowls to Daddy Patty? Or is it the Buffalo Bills? I'll be hearing that from you after the game. Hopefully Lakers win. If the Lakers start winning, then I think it'll happen for a reason. And if these guys are greedy, like they're greedy, if they're greedy, well, sometimes they do let the public have one, because they gave him the World Series with Ohtani, all this crap, right? But they are greedy. They're taking too much of a loss if the Dodgers win 2 straight in a row. It's a Brooklyn Dodgers. It's not going to happen. The Dodgers are going to lose. The Yankees going to beat them. Super Bowl 61 is going to be the Bills over the Bucks. I have concluded and I have determined that Baker is going to play and Mike Evans against the Buffalo Bills. And Baker is, I didn't even say I have to upload the video, but Baker Mayfield is 6'1". Wow, 6'1". Baker is 6'1". Baker Mayfield will be going up against Josh Allen in the Super Bowl in the future. 41 touchdowns. This dude is a big-time player. As long as Mike Evans is there, the show continues. Big number. Mike Evans, 33 years of age, make it to another Super Bowl. Baker makes it to the Super Bowl 6 years after Tom Brady won the Super Bowl. I do like Tampa make a future Super Bowl. Under white supremacist Trump, I do like a Florida team to make it to the Super Bowl in the National Football League. That one team is the Bucs. Under racist Trump, you got to stop dreaming about the full-blooded black quarterback winning. You'll see the white supremacist ritual play out. We've already seen it with Lamar crashing out of the playoffs the day before inauguration. The black quarterback, whether it be Daniels or Hurts, is going to get sacrificed to the blue-eyed Patrick Mahomes. That is the motherfucking truth. So Lamar is cooked. He's finished. There is this one player on the Ravens who was saying, I know guys who are going to leave this year. He's basically admitting to everyone that their window is over. And I think their window will end. If Derrick Henry ain't getting any younger, I'm telling you that. These running backs, they can't play a little longer like wide receivers can they? AP got washed up. He did. Ravens going to fail. I guarantee it. Just watch. Although if I was a script writer, I would script Ravens and Bucs because Baker against Lamar and which team wins their third Super Bowl. I would script the Ravens-Bucs Super Bowl. If I was a commissioner, I would script that matchup to give one of these guys. Give Cleveland the chance. That's perfect because the Ravens came from Cleveland and then Baker came from Cleveland. So which team gets screwed from Cleveland? But it ain't happening because that's not what the NFL wants. The NFL wants the scripted three-peat and the proposing to Travis to Taylor. Taylor is from Philadelphia. New Reading, Pennsylvania. Because of the General Jackson connection, but you're forgetting that this is all white supremacist ritual. You have to completely forget about the Ravens. You got to think with your head instead of with your heart and your fifis. You got to get over it. You got to get over Lamar Jackson. He turns it over. He's a failure, and the Ravens, they don't want to give Derrick Henry the carry. So Ravens are a bunch of actors. They sold. Their time is up. But yeah, when Cincinnati makes it, they're playing the Lions. If you hate the Lions, it's because you lost money on the Lions, and you're proving my point that you're being too emotional. It didn't happen because it wasn't meant to happen. That is exactly why it didn't happen, because it wasn't meant to be until the Cat Lion Super Bowl. And Dan Campbell suffered the heartbreak at the Bay Area when the Giants lost against the 49ers in 2003. He suffered the heartbreak in the NFC Championship game at the same stadium. Can make the return to that stadium. Jared Goff and Burrow, which quarterback wins the Super Bowl after losing their first appearance? That's the script. It just makes sense. Detroit Lions is 61. They can be defending NFC champions in the year that we determine the Super Bowl 61 winner. Well, yeah, these black quarterbacks are cooked while Orange Fewer is in office. Guarantee that. Don't be picking Packers to win the Super Bowl. Don't be picking Kyler in Arizona. Don't be picking Lamar Jackson. These guys are cooked as long as Donald Trump is living and alive and in office and dismantling America every day as he's done right now. He's getting rid of government watchdog groups so these people can do everything without oversight. He wants to end birthright citizenship. He's letting violent felons leave prison who injured hundreds of cops, setting the precedent for future right-wing violence every time the loser right-wing snowflakes lose an election. Because, the Republican president will just pardon me, let me storm the Capitol and kill the officer. And Donald Trump halted money that goes towards cancer research. What a guy. What a guy. He halts money that's supposed to go to cancer research. What a disaster. And you know what your orange clown did? He signed an executive order that raises prescription drug prices, reversing Joe Biden's policies that have lowered prescription drugs. He has capped the amount that you can charge for prescription drugs. Donald Trump said, fuck you, Americans. I'm going to get rid of all the caps on prescription drug prices, and I'm going to raise prescription drugs on you. That's what Donald Trump did. It's been a very disastrous, it hasn't even been 7 days yet, but this guy's a mitigated disaster. I don't know how America's going to survive this. I don't know. Maybe people will wake up and take back their government in the midterms. This is not what everyone wanted. Only 23% of eligible voters voted in the election, and under 50% voted for Donald Trump. Those who did decide to vote, and the election was rigged. Elon Musk had hacked the voting machines. It was rigged anyways. This is why you had billionaires sitting on the front row on Inauguration Day, because they're celebrating it. When Donald Trump says golden age, he means golden age for billionaires. Tax breaks, no regulations, no oversight over their companies. These guys have made themselves richer at the public's expense. You didn't win nothing, you moron. The billionaires won the election. The billionaires should be very happy. Yeah, that's the government they're going to get. Oh, yeah, Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a joke. He is. It's Nick Sirianni and Saquon that's making him look good. You see it with these black quarterbacks. You see what the NFL's doing. Oh, he's nothing without a star running back. Oh, Jalen Hurts can't do it by himself. He needs a star running back. He needs Saquon Barkley. Oh, Lamar is this incompetent black quarterback, says the NFL. We got to give this guy Derrick Henry. See, it's very subliminal when they have these star running backs signing with the team with the black quarterback, because the NFL is subliminally telling you that these guys can't do it. It's purely racial when they have a team like the Eagles sign Saquon. Because, Jalen Hurts can't do it alone. He needs a star running back. Lamar needs a star running back. They're just mocking the public in plain sight. This is pure mockery. I never thought of it from that regard. Yes, NFL's racist. Yes, they have right-wing owners. Yes, they have right-wing Roger Goodell. And yes, they colluded to shut down Colin Kaepernick, who raised very valid points with this kneeling campaign. No matter what happens, Law 666 is on the way. Let's go to Wikipedia. This is pretty occult, what they're doing to the Eagles. And if they win tomorrow, and lose against Kansas, their win percentage would be 50, like Donald, like Chiefs. It's Gematria 50, like America's 50. So if the Eagles lose the game, then I'll do a quick video on the game. I'll have all the tabs ready to go. Because who cares about waiting until after the Chiefs play? We already know the Chiefs are going to be in the game. If Eagles are in there, 1 win in 5 appearances. I like if the NFL is concerned about ratings. So, which matchup would they like if they're worried about this? Ratings took a big dive for a second straight week. They just want to get all the star names in there that they can get. There's the public really sick and tired of rematches. Would they rather see a lovable team like Washington in there? They got rid of the Lions for betting purposes. Well, Washington is a team that people can get behind. And Jalen Hurts is the next. Not this guy. Jaden Daniels is the next big thing. Hey, Doug Williams is from Louisiana. He was a Washington Redskins winning quarterback of Super Bowl 22. So, Doug Williams from Louisiana. But again, New Orleans is 45. Mahomes wins 4 out of 5 Super Bowls. The ritual is going to be complete. The commander and the chief. The commander and chief. So you see, there's this kind of thing. It's just really hard to. It's really hard to ignore. Like, just you know, you never say never. Never say never. You never say never. David versus Goliath. Either way, either matchup is a great matchup. Either matchup is perfect in their own separate ways. Is all I have to say.